think the application is gonna have to be approved, for a specific purpose, and like you said, if the application's approved, then it's here, you know, we'll deal with that down the road, you know.
It's just something we have to look into, just like accepting grants, usually the council has to give
Yeah,
approval,
that's right.
so.
I guess my assumption would be it's probably something along the lines of, you don't necessarily need to approve of every individual expenditure on a line item by item basis, but it could be, you know, a monthly summary of, we're looking to spend X amount of funds through the UEC program towards these programs, and it's maybe a single resolution saying, yes, we're authorizing this funding. And you probably have the ability to call out any individual items if you want to, but it might, I'm just trying to think in terms of other programs I've worked with. Yeah, it'll get figured out. More than likely, you would have some level of oversight. It's not a matter of, Roe gets to pick and choose who she wants to get the funds, and you just have to live with her decisions. But also, hopefully, it's not something that every time somebody wants anything, they have to come to this body and specifically make an hour-long presentation, and that would, you know, the purpose is to help the businesses quickly and efficiently and not tie it up in bureaucratic process. The Trenton has to approve it, then you approve it, and back and forth and all that sort of stuff.
So we're allocating X amount of dollars based on the formula you're talking about, right? Is there any threshold of how much we can go over that allocation? Are we allowed to go over that allocation, or what's the process to do that?
I honestly don't know if you're allowed to request any more than what you're allocated. My assumption is no. There might be some sort of process, since it is all state funds, that if at the end of the year there's an excess of, let's say, Mount Holly's allocated 500,000, Pemberton's allocated 500,000. Those are the two UECs in Burlington County. I think those are the only two in Burlington County. Let's say Mount Holly only uses 400,000 and you've used your 500,000. There might be some, I don't think it's in the regs, but there's a possibility of excess funds that were allocated to certain towns that they didn't use them, that could get put back into a general fund, and then you might be able to request funding, but that would probably be determined. I mean, with the state, with DCA, the way they usually do things, same thing with DEP. They will allocate you funds, or you can be awarded funds through a grant. They give you a certain amount of time to spend those or use those, and they'll usually give you a heads up multiple times of, hey, you've got $100,000 sitting in this fund. Please submit something to us so you can use that, and then they'll remind you several times, and eventually it does expire, and I don't know what happens to it, if it goes back to the general fund or if it gets allocated elsewhere. But my assumption would be, try and use the money, or my recommendation would be try and use as much of the money as you can sooner than later, because you don't know what's gonna happen to it if you don't use it.
And now you said we're all in favor of shrinking up the UEZ zone, and as I read through your proposal, it has to be put in all lots and blocks. I mean, you just can't say this area is now not in the UEZ zone. You have to have every lot and block in there.
Well, doing that, I know.
So the state can.
DCA maps it online, so you can literally go to DCA's website for, I think it's the community assessment mapping or community impact mapping, something like that.
Mhm.
And they have the exact boundaries of every current UEZ, and the primary reason for that is they're gonna wanna update their maps so that they know specifically, and they can, because eventually would be a public document.
I just wanna make sure no lots and blocks are left out of, any, farm areas or rural areas.
DCA would be sent the list of block lots as well as the map, and I can send them the actual GIS file so they could drop it into their own systems and map it and then verify block lots.
Okay, so we'll be able to take a better look that way before we adopt this proposal and make sure it fits into what we're looking at.
If that's what you want to do, sure.
Okay.
Mr. Dewey, you have any questions?
Yes, I do, Josh.
Dewey, you have any questions?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Was there any lots added to, like, up on Arnie's Mountain Road?
Well, what we're proposing, we're not proposing to add anything to the UEZ that isn't currently in the UEZ. We're shrinking it down. There are a few areas, Fort Dix Road and Arnie's Mountain Road, that would remain in the UEZ where there are businesses. The general idea is everything that currently is a business, like Arnie's Mountain, say like where the Wawa is, I think it's where Arnie's Mountain and Fort Dix Road meet. That would stay in the UEZ, and then the VFW and then a few other businesses further north on that, they would stay in the UEZ. But we're not proposing on expanding the boundaries anywhere that isn't currently in the UEZ.
Oh, north of, of North Pemberton Road on Arnie's map, that's not included in the UEZ?
I don't think so, no. But anything that's not currently a business, well, not anything, but for the most part, we're maintaining just areas that are currently business corridors, or are currently developed with businesses, and for the most part, not 100%, where they're currently farms and forests and, public properties that are not gonna be changing anytime soon. We're proposing to remove those from the urban
Chris,
enterprise.
I think,
Right.
Councilman Dewey, to answer your question on North Pemberton, we were talking about Pemberton Farms, including that.
Yes, that is included, I don't think that's near Arnie's Mountain Road, that's
Well, that's on North Pemberton.
That's on North Pemberton Road and what is, I'm sorry, what's that called? And Route 206. So I'm sorry, I see a jacket here in your spot, but I assume you're joining us virtually, so I don't know if you can see the map or not. I'm assuming no.
Yeah, but he.
He's got the electric permit.
He couldn't get it all,
Yeah,
Alright.
it's,
Well,
the other,
I don't know how easy it is to read, the map is on page, proposed map is on page 30-something. 37 of the plan is the proposed map. It's a little hard to read, it's, 1 inch equals about 2 miles there, so it's not easy to get down to the parcel level on that.
yeah, what page was the map?
It's, page 37 is the proposed map.
Okay. The other question I had, when you mentioned New Lisbon Road, you'd be going, I guess, east on that road towards the 4 Mile Circle. On the right side, you have blueberry fields, cranberry bogs, down 3/4 of the way down there, and then you have state ground, and on the left side, when you get past the last house on the left going east on New Lisbon Road towards the circle, when you get past, I think it's Coleman Bridge Road, from there all the way down is state property. That's part of the state forest.
Yeah, nothing in Burn State Forest would be in the UEZ.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is on the right side, you have blueberry fields and cranberry bogs that you can't see from New Lisbon Road because they're in the woods. It's all farms. And that stretch from there, you can go Magnolia Road and, there's blueberry farms in there. So that should be eliminated from the UEZ at all, the whole thing.
Yeah, I did, well, right now Magnolia Road is in the UEZ and we're proposing to remove that.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think that I haven't looked at it exactly parcel by parcel, everything, but I don't think there'd be any cranberry bogs or blueberry farms that would be in the proposed new UEZ boundaries. The idea was to take that stuff out of the UEZ.
That would be correct.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Duffy, appreciate it.
I don't know if anybody else has questions, but thank you. Or any of you have any more questions?
Well, we'll move on to public comments, number 7 on the agenda. The council's intention is to reserve the level of respect, courtesy, and civility required to successfully conduct public business. In this regard, the council should be addressed during public participation as a collective body and not individual members. In order to respect the speaker's time, council members will not engage in the dialogue or debate with the speaker. However, council members should feel free to ask the speaker a question or questions once recognized by the council president for purposes of clarification. Council members can offer comments on the speaker's remarks once the speaker is concluded his or her comments in the allotted 5-minute time frame. Before we start, Mr. Reynolds, hang on 1 second. Mr. Costa, I'm gonna do you a favor, okay? Because ADA is very important to me. Your tripod stand there, if you wanna move that on the other side of that
I
doorway
can-
there, please, you're more than welcome to.
I can put it over there?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Starnes.
Hi, Marie Reynolds from Browns Mills, and I don't mean to take up the time of your professionals, but I had a lot of questions about this UEZ plan. First of all, when was this firm retained to do the 5-year plan?
I believe that we had our kickoff meeting maybe in May, and then we put out the survey in June or July, so I wanna say the contract was probably April of last year, but I might be off.
Okay, and what was the cost of the, what's the cost of this plan, the 5-year plan that's being
I
developed?
believe the overall contract was in the range of $92,000 or $95,000.
Okay, my concern with that was that, a few years ago, CME was one of the firms that, put in an RFP for Trenton, for their 5-year plan. And it was like almost 3 times the other bidders. And, so I wondered how, what was done in terms of looking at, I mean, we had to put out RFPs for this, right? Did we?
Yes, we had responded to an RFP through submitting the proposal and
Okay, all
we
right,
were selected. I don't know how many other proposals were submitted, but we were selected.
okay. Because in Trenton, when that bidding took place, the cost of the 5-year plan development was $65,000, and this firm was over $124,000 for the same plan. And in 2023, the UEZ, the requirements for the UEZ plan were changed by the state, by DCA, and it requires that that you have some conversation before the plan is developed. That you have some, for instance, Mount Holly Urban Enterprise Zone, their 5-year plan, their executive summary, they included a stakeholders group. They had a stakeholders group. And I responded to the survey that we put out, and it was pretty sad. I mean, in terms of someone who has done surveys in the past, it was pretty sad. Like, do you want to see food trucks in Browns Mills? Is that really part of our infrastructure? So I really think this is a very big project. I think it's a very big deal, and I don't think it's just a matter of getting some money and passing it along to somebody. I mean, I think we can do some make some real changes. We can do some big things. Our history with UEZ, and we were designated a UEZ in 1996, and I understand according to DCA that expires in 2027. So I'm sure that's why we're looking to get this done now. But when you look at a survey that was done by the DCA in 2019, Pemberton's participation, what we achieved is abysmal from 1996 on. Other towns did great big things. The city of Trenton did the Roebling Market, which is huge. The city of Camden did Eye in the Sky program, a very sophisticated cameras and throughout the city that could help with the subject of crime. The city of Bridgeton did a huge Steamworks program where they took an old building, industrial building, and they did training for technology and for STEM for the community, and that outreach really helped exponentially people get prepared for jobs in the future. I love this one. The city of Long Branch utilized $6 million of UEZ funds for planning and development projects, which revolutionized business development in the city and allowed them to leverage more than $1.2 billion in new redevelopment projects along the city's oceanfront. And those, there's a lot that we can do with this. I don't think what the Township of Pemberton did? Private investments. The Township of Pemberton utilized approximately $1 million in second generation funds for acquisition and demolition of substandard buildings to encourage redevelopment at the Browns Mills Shopping Center and Juliustown Road. This effort was completed in conjunction with municipal funding, and it ended a nearly 2-decade investment standstill in this blighted area. Make that 4 decades now. The township is currently in a redevelopment agreement with private developers to establish the future infrastructure of their area. Other private investments included Virtua Medical Offices, DeVita Dialysis, and the Deborah Hospital, which took advantage of the sales tax reimbursement program for their building projects. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done here, and I think that more than a survey that was put out on social media, I know I'm over my time, but I think that and Sycamore Hall has to be part of it. Thank you.
Mrs. Reynolds, can I answer some of your questions now? Since the buzzer went off, but
Thank you.
So here's what I'll tell you, Marie. I mean, you know, I think everybody knows over the past 3 years that I've been here, I've been constantly harping about why we're even in a UEZ. Right? I've read the studies from Virginia Tech. I've read the studies from Rutgers. I've seen the studies for the rest of the state of New Jersey. Quite honestly, UEZs don't really. There's no evidence that they help or hurt. It's just flat, right? And yeah, it's a money grab. I mean, we have a truck driving around Pemberton Township that has UEZ on the side of it. For what reason? Right? So we bought a truck with UEZ money. So it's another issue where, you know, and everybody's heard me say this before, the program's probably gonna sunset. It got its last extension,
Oh,
right?
right.
So, you know, there's a lot of businesses, even Wawa in New Jersey doesn't take advantage of UEZ. They just don't, because there's no benefit to them, right? So it's another way to just, in my opinion, take money and kind of transfer from one pocket to the other, right? I'm not saying nobody's taking money, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, right, there's displacement of funds as opposed to generation of funds, right? And those examples that you mentioned, right, Long Branch, you know, very big population of small business and economic growth. The other cities that you mentioned, Trenton, I mean, again, millions and millions of dollars probably in their UEC funds. I've sat here and argued the fact that why Pemberton Township, almost 75% of it was in the UEC for the past 2 years, right? And why? And the
We're
only
not taking advantage of it. We had
Well-
out of 201 businesses in Pemberton Township in the 2019 survey, 27 were participating.
right,
The rate of participation was 13%.
right, it was
Yeah.
abysmal, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Right, so quite honestly, and that's my opinion, we shouldn't have been in the UEC, but because of sprawl and development, everybody knows what it was. So that's my 2 cents on it, but you know, hopefully we'll see some changes, and before this comes across council for approval, we'll definitely have a look at it and dive deeper into it. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just have people texting me about this live stream isn't working. A couple people have texted me already.
Yep, it's up and running.
Something wrong there, saying it's not. I had 2 people. Okay. I will say it.
Marty, before you start, it is confirmed that it's running, Debbie. I don't know.
I'm texting back by.
Got you.
Thanks.
Sorry, Marty, you're good.
That's okay. Hi, Marty Wenger, President of BMIA, Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And before I start, hot off the press, I do have the spring newsletter from the BMIA, so if it's okay for me to approach, I'd like to give some of those out.
Sure.
Good evening. Oh, you need to wipe the letter.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Good evening, Mayor, council members and residents. My name is Marty Graf Wenger, President of the BMIA. I stand before you today to address a matter of significant concern that many of us are all too aware of. Recently, a tragic incident occurred at the intersection of Weymouth and Rancocas where a child was struck by a vehicle. This heart-wrenching event underscores the urgent need to enhance safety at the dangerous intersection. Last year, residents of the area came to a town council meeting to raise concerns about speeding cars in their neighborhood and shared apprehensions about children walking to and from school In response to these concerns, the BMIA took a closer look at the intersection and included it in our wish list for improvements. We previously encouraged the council to consider an increased police presence and the possibility of installing speed bumps to enhance safety. Today, I am here to ask, what steps will the mayor and council take to prevent such tragedies from happening again? It is imperative that we come together as a community to address this issue, ensuring that our streets are safe for our children and all residents. We seek a commitment from our leadership to explore viable solutions and keep our community safe. In light of our discussions, I want to highlight a positive development. Yesterday at approximately 11 a.m., an advertisement was posted on the Pemberton Township Facebook page for employment of a crossing guard during school hours. We sincerely hope that this position will be appointed at the dangerous intersection where the child was struck. This step could be a significant measure towards ensuring the safety of our children as they navigate our streets. In regards to Resolution 80-2025, it is incredibly nice to see the township cares about its history. I see on the agenda that we will be accepting a grant for 2 signs at the train station. These 2 signs will be an excellent addition so that visitors on our rails to trails in Pemberton will understand the importance of the Pemberton and Hightstown Railroad and the significance of our town in the development of southern New Jersey. Our railroads helped build Fort Dix and provided the means for our farms to exist and sell their products. Sometimes visitors on the trail don't even know that it was part of an important train line, and I hope to see more examples of the township's support of our history in the future. On a brighter note, I'd like to share some upcoming events at the BMA that foster community spirit and engagement. We do have a float building class on February 23rd at 2 p.m. We'll host this float building class at the BMIA building. This event is open to anyone interested in learning how to create a float for the upcoming water carnival. While you're there, please consider bringing a donation for Operation Yellow Ribbon. I have their wish list with me and would love to share it to anybody who approaches me. After that, we have Mardi Gras karaoke. Please join us on March 7th at 7 p.m. for this fun karaoke night. BMIA members will receive a free mask and complimentary food. It's a wonderful opportunity to connect with neighbors and enjoy a night of entertainment. Lastly, mark your calendars for our Coffee with a Cop event on Sunday, March 23rd at 2 p.m. We are excited to welcome Chief of Police Glass, who will be available to address your questions and discuss what our police department is doing to enhance safety in our neighborhood. Additionally, representatives from TAG will provide critical information about fighting addiction. As we know, this affects many families and it's crucial to be informed and equipped with resources. Before I close, I'd just like to say that BMIA memberships are still available, and they are a low price of $15 per family per year. And you can sign up at any membership meeting, any Friday night event, or you can mail us a check to P.O. Box 284 in New Lisbon, New Jersey, or you can see me at any township meeting and give me cash, and I will give you a card. So, thank you very much for your attention and your commitment to the community. I want to work collaboratively to find effective solutions that ensure the safety of all of our residents, especially our children.
Marty, I will answer one of your questions you asked council directly in regards to, I did hear that tragic accident. Luckily, the girl's okay from what I heard, but, you know, when and if administration wants to bring something to council and stop signs or speed humps in that area, I think I can speak for entire council that whatever, safety of the children is first. So we'll approve any expenditure in that area to take care of that, so.
Shopping center. So all the parking lot lights work except for the one in front of our store. And I would ask that you guys do something about that because it's really dangerous for me to close that laundromat at night. The other thing is our roof is still leaking. really bad. We can't fix it because if we fix it, it's just gonna leak again next time it rains. So if you guys could do something about that, and I think the best way to go about that is just to think about selling the EMS building instead of wasting the money into putting into a building that's falling apart that you guys are gonna destroy anyway. Best way to deal with that is to sell us the EMS building. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mayor, can we do anything about the parking lot light or the roof leaking since we rent those properties?
The, roof leak, we've had public works over there to meet with, you know, the tenant a couple of times, and no one showed up in their public works, so that's where we're over there.
I actually was there last time they came, it was before it snows. Now that they did fix it, they had 4 guys on this little patch of roof fixing it. They said they fixed it, I watched them put a little bit of tar on the roof, but after it snowed, it started leaking worse.
Can you maybe something back out again?
Sure.
Thank you.
Because the paint is like bubbling up, it's peeling, we're losing business because people don't think we actually care about the place. And I do believe there is black mold under the paint peeling because it's been leaking for so long.
Thank you.
Mayor, any change in your mind about selling that property?
I have no comment.
Wow.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Costa.
Hi, how's it going? Alex Costa, 2950 Route 70. I'm gonna hand you out something real quick. Just a little something I typed down.
You got our email?
I sent it to you in email, but the hard copy.
Oh, yeah.
For your, what I handed you there is just a little resolution or ordinance or whatever you wanna call it. I typed it up, it only took me about 10 minutes. It's basically to just have that wall removed or railing or whatever you wanna call it. I think it's destructive and abusive. I think we should get it done. Secondly, I wanted to just let you know I over requested the billing materials. We have a charge for $310 at Lowe's, and then we also spent $400 at O'Brien's. But for some reason, they subtracted money off from the Lowe's, so I don't understand why they subtracted money off. And secondly, I got the work order and the people that built it. I'm not gonna say their names, just keep it cool. And they spent collectively between the 3 of them, if you add up all the hours between the 3, about 100 hours working on that, and that over there. So your tax dollars are hard at work. And funny enough, the work order went in on the 16th, the day after the council meeting. And also now on the resolutions, I would like for 70-2025 to also include the Pine Barrens Tribune. I think that it's the most readable paper in our community because I don't think we get the Burlington County Times or the Courier Post. And pretty much 70 on through 81, I think we should all agree that this stuff should be taxed. And down to the new business, because I had looked up the Hermit Cam modular surveillance system. Are these dash cameras for the police cars, or what are they for? Because I looked them up, but you had to have an access code from the police, like you had to have an actual code from the police in order to log in and see all the specifications and stuff. So I wasn't able to access it. I went on the website and tried to look at them. It wouldn't let me get any farther than that without the code. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Josh, man. And so for that Crime Point website, that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You have an account to log in. I tried to log in myself. But they're not dash cams. They're actually security cameras you put outside.
Oh, okay.
And that price, just another question we brought up later, is well within the range. There are some a lot cheaper, some a hell of a lot more expensive. So that's what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
think the paper I handed you think it could be doctored up or, you know, and the lawyers?
I'll have Jerry take a look at it.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Mr. Thomas?
Mark Thomas, 35 North Woods Road in the New Lisbon section of Pemberton Township. I wasn't sure whether the council had enough time to respond to the woman who was here, because I thought that there was a question directed to the mayor, but there wasn't any response, direct response to the individuals involved.
Are you talking about the purchase of the EMS building?
Yes,
That, it's the mayor under this form of
I
government.
understand that, but in
Yeah.
terms of responding to the person regarding the conditions themselves.
In regard, Mark, in regards to the roofing or the purchase of and sale of the building? Is what you're speaking of to? The sale of the EMS building?
No, just the conditions.
The conditions,
The fact that it's been ineffective, and this has been an ongoing situation for months upon months upon months.
so what I'll personally say, without holding back anything, is if I had the ability as council president to go directly to the Department of Public Works and handle the issue tomorrow, I would.
Yeah, okay.
That's my answer.
I just think.
I'm not allowed to do that, though.
I understand that, but what I'm saying, I'm speaking out as in a moral response to a moral condition here relating to devotion to civic responsibility for our citizens who are laboring under tremendous disadvantages.
And I couldn't agree with you more, Mark.
That's all I want to say.
Yeah, and I mean, look, 4 months ago, I think it was 4 months ago, right, Alex? You know, I went out in the woods, picked up a freezer that nobody wanted to touch.
3 months.
3 months ago, picked up a freezer and took it to the dump because it was ridiculous. It was my moral responsibility, right?
Right.
I mean, just pick it up, throw it on the, right? If I go and if I knew how to do roofing, and I was about to, you know what I mean, right? So I'm not, I agree with, I agree with you.
But again, there are technical requirements and responses that are the duties of different aspects of government.
Correct.
But in this country, we tend to compartmentalize things so hermetically so that the human aspect of these things and the suffering that goes on is not acknowledged.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I'm sort of the top of the pressure cooker, you know, the little thing that goes around and the pressure goes up. Anyway,
Mark, it's not lost on this council,
I understand.
the lack of consideration for our township residents. It's not lost on us.
I
If we had
understand
any
that.
control on any of this, to include the sale of the EMS building, it would have been Mr. Early's right now.
I am nothing if not rhetorical, and I do apologize, but anyway, those were not my remarks, but the remarks also about the enterprise zone. I feel that there should have been a public process that included a set of public hearings on something that is this vital. Because as we have seen over the last 6 to 7 years, the way this was constituted made it possible to designate places like the Greenberg Farm as blighted. And this was a strategic error, and it was what would you call it? It was a sort of cunning way of trying to excise a premier and render unworkable a historic agricultural district that is one of the best in the state.
I couldn't agree with you more. And again, I'll revert back to 2009 and the 2014 revision, which, you know, public hearings on, from what I was told, because I didn't live in town at that point in time, but were had, and people could have came out and voiced their opinion against it. 1996, with the adoption of it, it should have been shot down right then and there.
I know that maybe I'm just a rabble-rouser who's getting people all hot under the collar, but what we're seeing, again, was a process that went on 15 to 20 years. And so this population has been exposed to things that they really couldn't do anything about. And so, and I know that there are at least 2 individuals who have gone through the processes of the last 3 years who have developed serious or aggravations of serious medical problems. And we've heard it in two individuals, one of whom had cardiac symptoms because of, I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just saying that this kind of a process and the lack of transparency about the last decade has resulted in what I would say is, in some ways, a community mental health crisis. So anyway, you know, this is me. And I'm probably not gonna get through what I wanted to say, but I had to say these things because this is what everybody is feeling. But we are in a new process, we're in a new era, and I can bring my other stuff up in the future. Well, one question about the master plan, and I know this is planning board bailiwick, but could you tell me what happens with the master plan when it comes over to council? Is that simply an approval, or do you comment on it, and can you send it back for any revisions?
You probably know better than I do, Chair, because you've been involved with that.
The master plan, when it's adopted, may make recommendations to the township council in terms of rezoning certain areas or modifying building requirements, that kind of thing. And then it's up to the council to decide whether or not they want to enact an ordinance, which presumably would be recommended in that master plan.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I'll save the rest for later.
This is
I just read down this one.
Anybody else all the time?
Good evening, my name is Michelle Foreman. Okay, thank you, Mark, that was very good. Very excellent. Okay. I'm looking over there on that wall. I'm trying to find the plugs that were put in there. And I don't see the same white plugs I saw that was in the newspaper the last time.
Because they're right here.
You were able to take them off?
Yeah.
Oh, so now there's plugs available to use?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, just double check.
There's one over here.
What you see down there, there is an electrical outlet in the wall, if that's what you're referring to.
Okay, thank you, Christopher. What? What was that?
I was talking to Chris.
Don't get involved with what?
I told him don't get involved in the subject.
Well, I'll talk when you're
Yeah,
up
let's-
here,
let's-
so please don't talk long.
Fellas?
There's a lot of people that need to keep their mouths shut, but anyway, meanwhile, I'm glad to see that you did that. Thank you very much. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, as far as what Christopher was just talking about, I'm not gonna comment on that tonight, cause I wasn't really prepared. But, I probably would have a lot to say about that. So, Harry, I just wanted to let you know that there is a crosswalk at that wall.
I do. Tell me.
Yeah, what I was talking to Harry about earlier today was that, at the Wawa, and there's, across the street, there's a marijuana store. But there's a red light on Armies Mount Road, and the cars are just flying through it, they're not even stopping. It's a roll, it's barely a roll, they just go right through it. Red light, make a right on red, and I talked to him about, we need to, I wanna thank Marty for bringing up the traffic, the safety on the roads, okay? And, yeah, I mean, those cars are flying by there, you can't cross that street. You can't cross from the Borough side to the Wawa side safely, it's just almost impossible. And I know this because I ride my bike down at the railroad, I went there today, and if the roads are too bad or snow down there, sometimes I'll cross the street to ride up in the Borough. And, that's very dangerous. What we need right there is, no turn on red. There needs to be signs that says no turn on red. I talked to Harry about that today. I think I have to go to the county for this. But I thought when they put the marijuana store, they were gonna, like, make it safer in that area. But I didn't see any signs, no right-hand turn. And, the other thing I wanted to tell the people here tonight about is, let me just think here. I don't think anybody honors that bike, that cross street. I don't think anybody's honoring that at all. In other words, if I was supposed to walk across there, they would have to stop for me.
Yes, that's right away, pedestrians and right away.
I think I'd get killed first, but, anyway. I wanted to also tell people, that there's an antique store in the Borough, and it's called Grist Mill Antique. And a lot of the people might not know about it. I've talked to people who don't even know about this, but it's a beautiful store, and the owner's name is Barbara, and I've known her for like years, probably 30, and she's the nicest person, and so if anybody needs any antiques, it's a good place to do some business. And, yeah. The last thing I wanted to say is, Rosemary Flannery did call me today, did text me today, so that was good to hear from her. Thank you, whoever had to talk with her, including you, Harry. And then, finally, I wish you well with your problem with the leak, and I hope they get on that, fix it correctly for you, and everything else. Thank you for your service to the community. I wish there was something I could do too. That's a shame.
And Michelle, like I told you earlier, I'm pretty sure that's a county road there, right, Mr. Mayor? I will, next county meeting, go complain about that. I don't know what they'll be able to do, if they'll be able to change it so there's no right on red, or if they can put some flashing lights at that cross section, but I will go talk to the county at the next county meeting.
Councilman Harville makes it even worse. If you're coming up down Arnie's Mount Road to Fort Dix Road,
Yeah,
and you look at that traffic light, they actually have a green arrow saying you can go right.
right.
So you don't even have to stop, you just keep going. So that's why when Ms. Foreman said people don't stop,
Yeah.
it's because they have the green arrow.
They got the green arrow there,
So,
okay.
I mean, normally when there's an application before a land use board, that the county does a traffic study, and I figured that they would catch something like that, but apparently not.
Well, we'll talk to the county, see what we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to get there soon.
It's not our road, unfortunately.
Okay, but we can, the police can patrol that, right?
They do.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody in general. Well, I've been done a lot of riding around in all different roads. And the first thing I'm going to hit it is 530 East and Route 70. I know that that's part of the 3 counties and states. Anyone in the administration has been went there since the county stated that they finished that road. The only thing they're going waiting is for the good weather and put in landscaping on it. It's disgusting. Now they digging the whole bigger. They look like you can bury people there. It's not safe, I'm sorry. They make it worse.
You know, America, I was just there yesterday, and I would have to agree with you, if you're coming from Lakehurst, Tom's River area, they should have put in a turn lane there, because you're gonna get a lot of rear endings that are gonna happen
The
there.
speed limit is right now,
Yep.
they're 55 miles an hour. There is nothing in there. Okay, I leave that in there. I was traveling today on Route 206 South, coming out on Rich Road in Southampton. And I noticed there is plenty signs in that roads, no trucks allowed. No trucks, doesn't say allowed, no trucks, like the only thing says. I haven't been riding in Birmingham Road at this time, a little while. Is any sign anybody knows has they been put in Birmingham Road, there is no trucks allowed, and that's Birmingham Road and, Brandywine Road? Is any sign, anybody? I haven't been riding in there, I'm planning to go probably tomorrow back there. Okay, I leave it there. Okay, now they talking about it, yes, in reference to the UEC and everything. And the sad part it is, this township doesn't have a hall. We can have invited all kinds of people, business people, like they serve breakfast and all this thing. We cannot even have a hall to just invite them and tell them what we got here. That when the Sycamore Hall come available, and I hope they be able to get it back, and the township can keep it for conference. We don't have nothing in there. In the old day, they used to tell me, oh, we got the red top or the red roof or whatever the hotel. Well, guess what? They were wrong in there. That's what they told me. They did not need no halls at the time. They got at the hotel there. Okay, now my next thing it is, okay, I hit the Sycamore Hall about the laundromat. Okay, so for example, I am the rental people. Okay, I'm renting the building. I'm renting the building for the township. They are my landlord. If I got any problem, I will hit the landlord. This is your building, you getting my money every month? Why you not repairing what your building is supposed to be? And he said, because who knows how many people go to the laundromat, that's not their building, they are paying for your use of the building. The people may get sick and everything. Something has to be in the roof. The best bet it is, relocate them. You got plenty buildings in this township empty. God. There is no brains in here, look like to me. And we need to help the resident. He is the one bringing a rateable to this township for so many years. And this is how they will pay him back? Please, the whole administration do something about it. Give him another building. Put him in another building until you build the other one anyway. That's what the deal. I know that you were not in that boat in those years. But this is what the deal, how they brainwash people. They just let him fall to the crack. But guess what? I just hope the township goes in there and fix the building. And I guarantee you, when they go in the roof, they may fall down from the roof down to the laundromat. And they don't have to just worry about and fix it. Okay, now, I'm going here and I've been reading so many things in the newspaper. To be honest with you, sometimes you might have heard, I never have a headache. I put the paper down and I see another day. Okay, give me seconds. And another day I'm going here. Okay, my question is right now, and I know that nobody can discuss that. I understand that. I was a state worker. I know the name of the game, okay? If I'm going to hire somebody to run my business, if this person got all this high education, and he was living from his car, because he stated in here, I was here in a meeting one day, that he was living from his car. Okay, now, he is a big man, he make all this money. I wish I could be making the money that this man is making. And you go and hire him to run our business? Forget about it.
Good evening. I really didn't have anything to say tonight, so I sat in the back of the audience here and watched some residents. I read in the, I guess, online and newspapers and whatnot, that our schools are one of the top 10 in bullying for a middle school. When I turn around, I don't care if a resident stands up here and recites the Gettysburg Address, or wants to stand here and say nothing for their 5 minutes. But to stand in the back of this room and the comments and the snide comments back and forth, that's where we need to stop. We're setting an example for our children. If that's the example that we're setting for our children, it's wrong. So I'm sorry, that just really aggravated me. The other thing I do want to bring up, I do hope that you do choose the Pinelands Tribune as the township's newspaper. Everyone reads it. Nobody reads the Courier Post or Trenton Times or whatever other one that you're going to pick. The other thing, I understand, gentleman from UEZ said they contacted businesses. I've never been contacted for a survey or anything else, and we've been in town since 1962. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say, because it's just really, I sit in the back of the room, and it's not the first time it's happened, but tonight just got at me. So let's show some respect for our residents, and that starts at the top. Not only to our residents, but to our business owners. So thank you also, Mark, for your comments on morals. I could not agree with you more. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Pete King, 247 Amherst Avenue. Yeah, on this ordinance, the second ordinance in for introduction tonight, I didn't see anything on that when I was looking online for that. So I didn't get a chance to read what it's going to be about. Just to let everyone know, though, that our high school does have as far as the urban thing, we have a medical arts academy in there where a lot of our people are getting medical skills while they're in high school, so that they can continue on to nursing or doctoral degrees. We also have culinary arts in our high school, which is a really good program as well. And this year we were able to also get our automotive shop back. So, and a couple of the kids that are in the automotive shop are going to pursue a career in automotive service, which is kind of cool. Also, on February 8th of this year, Scouting in America hit 115 years old, and has now been rebranded to Scouting America. This upcoming weekend, think about our scouts when you're out there, because they're going to be pushing a sled around to about 14 different stations and camping out in the cold weather, so down in Berlin. So think about them while they're out there, and wish the Troop 2145B good luck, and 2397G good luck. So the past years, 145 has done, I think, second place, maybe? I forgot, but I know they've actually placed up there pretty good, and 397's been a little bit further behind, so placed, but not that high. So, all right. So, y'all have any questions for me or anything? All right, y'all have a great night. Cheers.
about 88, 2025 and 89, 2025. Could you explain that to me more? That's a lot of money, and I don't quite understand, what we're doing there.
These resolutions were forwarded to us by our bond counsel. This is not incurring any more money. This money was already, bonded for in previous years, and this is, because the money is coming from the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, is that correct? They require these resolutions to be done. It's more like a paperwork thing.
Kind of like the money's there, we just.
It's already been bonded for. The township already bonded for the monies in previous years. These resolutions are just doing some type, the way it was explained to me is just paperwork that the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank requires us to do. So that there's things in place when we do actually get the money or when the
And I
project.
kinda got the ride late, and I see something here with the UEZ. I thought we were getting rid of the UEZ.
If I had it my way, Pat, I would, but we did a new, they did a new project and revision and reduced the scale of it down, as you can see. And council will be taking a look at that for a later date.
Okay, and is this one section like all the way on the edge? Is that Birmingham Road?
No, that's really,
Alright, so here's Brandywine, so
206 and Birmingham Road.
this me here in the tank?
Yeah, you'd be in that area somewhere, it looks like, there's a, we're doing a whole reset of that, right?
Okay, so they're making our residential area UEZ?
Well, yeah, they're retaining that area, thank you. The only reason why I could understand why, Pat, and I'm just answering this is because Cybron and Celdat are over there now. So businesses, they wanna retain it within the UEZ. It has nothing to do with the residential status, or the outcome
Well, if
thereof.
they can make little areas like this, UEZ, can't they just keep Cybron and the, sewage plant there and make us where we're residential? And I've been begging pretty much for Birmingham to go back to being, like, we should be residential. And by making us UEZ and leaving us UEZ, that's just opening the door for more warehouses, and that's something we've been fighting for 2 years now. So why don't we take that out?
Again,
I mean, is that telling me that, okay, I'm not gonna be ever residential, so I might as well sell my house because I'm gonna be surrounded by construction and warehouses, and I don't even know what to do with, like, my 5 acres of property? Like, we're just being ran out by leaving us UEZ, so can't we just take Birmingham out of there and make our residents residential?
I'm sure it'll be part of the discussion that council has before it comes to a ordinance or resolution.
Yeah, Pat, that's not final. That's just a proposal.
Josh, last year when we went and changed some of the redevelopment or areas in need of redevelopment along the North Pemberton Road and stuff, wasn't that one of the areas that we also changed was the pits?
In regards to the 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the warehousing, right?
They did make it,
Yeah.
I did read it, and I was here for all of that, and they made it to where the buildings have to be shorter, there's more of a setback and this and that, but we don't wanna worry about no more shorter buildings and setbacks, we
I
wanna
thought-
be residential.
I hear what you're saying, but there is a process, and I thought what we did was remove the area in need of redevelopment from the pits, which if we do that, then it would make it, the only thing that anyone could build on would be a 5 acre lot max. And then the next step later on would be to reevaluate during the master plan, the zoning of those properties. And if the master plan determines that they wanna change the zoning from GCLI or whatever it is in there, then the zoning could be changed at that time. And unfortunately, Jerry, correct me if I make a mistake on this, but there is a process
And we started that process last year when we redesignated areas not an area in need of redevelopment.
Yeah, Birmingham doesn't need redevelopment. If you drive down Birmingham Road, it's beautiful. And the areas that were made in need of redevelopment have beautiful houses sitting on it, along with gorgeous forests. So that whole in need of redevelopment was a huge farce put onto our road. And leaving us UEZ is opening this up. I mean, I already have an ongoing court case going on right now because I have 5 warehouses projected to go across the street from my home. So I've been trying and begging the council, please, make us residential, and this is kind of a little bit terrifying. This is telling me that I'm almost at the point where I'm at my wit's end.
Pat, what I can answer for you tonight is this, and it's what, kind of Mr. Dockney was mentioning, and I'm gonna kind of paraphrase and summarize, because I'm not a municipal land use attorney, but I always say that, but when it comes to, don't be scared with it, right? So, and I know that's easier said than done. I know what you're going through, I get it. But what they're trying to do is for the last 3 years of the UEZ program as it exists, right? There's obviously grant money that's obtained, and you weren't here for the presentation, for the amount of size the UEZ would that kind of be correct, Mr. Dockney?
Well, it's not the size of the UEZ itself, but the amount of non-residential properties within
Right.
the UEZ.
Okay, all right, so thank you for clarifying. So amount of non-residential properties that are within the UEZ. So there's grant money that the township is afforded because of that. Now, that doesn't play into the second piece of that, and if you want to give me a call tomorrow, because I haven't heard from you in a long time, I missed that, but there are pieces in motion for Birmingham that the planning board, from what I understand, and the planners are working on. So I can't go into it that much further than that, but it does look promising and looks a lot better for Birmingham moving forward.
I mean, Birmingham is a very old town. It's been there for a very, very long time.
I know.
So I can see grandfather clausing Cybron as its commercial self, and also this fact that the sewage plant is there. But everything else out there is residential, and I'd like to see it become residential as it should be. So it shouldn't be, we're grandfather clause these residents to be, residents, and then if they sell, we're gonna make them commercial. It should be, we're gonna leave it all residential, and if the businesses decide to move out, let them be responsible for tearing down that business and putting more residential homes. It's kind of like we're looking more for the commercial side than we are looking out for the residents. I mean, I have 5 acres myself. I mean, it's terrifying if I go to sell for all my neighbors, because, like you said, minimum 5 acres. So someone could build a Wawa on my property, and I would not want to do that to my neighbors. It would not be fair to them. I'm getting old, knock on wood. I could die in a year or 2, okay? And in which case, my son, he already has a house, so he's gonna sell, and all my neighbors are gonna have to go through the nightmare of wondering, okay, now it can be built commercial because there's 5 acres there. Okay, I don't wanna do that to my neighbors. I really like my neighbors. I have a beautiful neighborhood, and we need to give precedence to the residents and not to these commercial people. And we can grandfather Cybron into the UEZ, but please take Birmingham out of there. Appreciate it, thank you.
We're gonna take a careful look at this, Pat, I mean, we're not gonna make any news. Mr. Dewey's not here, Perry's not here. We're gonna give them a chance to look over these. We're gonna take any questions the residents have and carefully figure this out.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else for public comment? Come on up.
Good evening, council. I was just wondering what the status of.
Just say your name for me, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm all signed in. I'm Eric S. from 119 Sunset. Mr. Harper knows me so far. I just want to clarify on the issues that we had last meeting on touching of what we've just purchased that new truck. Obviously, it's a lot of money. And it is. But is there any way, like, I mean, taxes just gone up. I mean, is there any way, if the truck's being built, it's custom built, but is there any way, like, we can get it into service before 2 years? I mean, that's, I mean, when it goes into service, it's gonna be 3-4 years old.
Administrator, I would defer to administration, Eric. We've been told, council was told 18 months, so that's what council hears and understands, so.
Okay.
What we're being told is it takes 18 months to build that truck, so it won't be 2 or 3 years old. It'll be brand new. It's just gonna take 18 months for it to get through the assembly pipeline.
Right, still gonna be an old truck.
We'll take delivery when it rolls off the assembly line. It's not gonna sit in a parking lot for 2 years.
I understand. Once is he put into service immediately? I mean, like, 2 years is a lot. I mean, you can have that same truck. Obviously, it takes 18 months to build the truck. You can buy the cab in the truck and have a body put on it, or salt or anything. You know, they have them in yards. They build beds for them all the time. You know, it's just what they do. But that's not the other issue I have is wanted to know what's the status of the stormwater infrastructure in town on the roads, fixing, repairing pipe. Obviously not filling it with riprap and cutting a piece of pipe out of the ground and reburying it and not fixing it the right way. And the other thing is, when we get this dump truck, are we gonna have more service in the town? Because, like, people have leaves and they put them in garbage bags. Well, the township picks them up once a year. Well, people put more than leaves out, more than once a year, you know? And then they sit in the bags for a year, and then they rot, and then you got a pile of leaves in the street, you know? I mean, if that should be picked up more, or, you know, you should be able to rake them to the street and put them in the street and have a vac truck come pick them up, or the loader or something come pick them up. I mean, they can't just sit in bags in front of people's houses for a year and a half. That's dumb. I mean, it's a waste of money too when you think about it. I mean, and the other thing is, we were talking about last week. The mayor was talking about the water tower being rehabbed and it was going to supposedly being fixed. Okay, for the guy to go up there safely. Well, I've passed by there 2 weeks now. Nobody's up there fixing the water tower. Why is nobody fixing it? You know, that's all I got in. I mean, I know to replace, you know, when me and Mr. Harper talked a couple weeks ago, you know, it's not a lot of money to repair the pipe. It's only about $2,500, $3,000, and the stormwater budget's $5,000. It's coming in under budget, so there's still money to play around with if you need be. The other thing is, how is the going with the Pinelands Commission clearing the woods off the street? You know, the maintenance items. I'm done now. Yes.
Mayor, you want to answer any of the questions first?
Don't know really where to start. I think I addressed the truck already, the pipeline. The stormwater, we talked. I talked to Public Works Director. They're gonna review it, probably turn it over to engineering, and they are gonna take a look at this. There is a process and it does take time, unfortunately. As far as the water tower, those contracts have been cut. The contractors are working it. And that's another, call it bureaucracy, call it whatever you want. I mean, it's not gonna happen overnight. It takes time to do this. The state comes in, I know the state's already come in with their engineer 2 or 3 times to talk about this project and some of the things going on. it does take time, unfortunately. As far as clearing the land, I think you're talking about the land you showed me when I was at your home.
Correct, the end of the street.
That's private property.
No, it is not. It's township property. It says it on the tax map, Mayor.
Okay.
There is one more comment I want to add. When you're going down Pemberton Browns Mills Road toward the library, and you're going to make the left at that corner, and you're going left or you're going right, people fly around the corner, and you go to make a turn and they drive right in you. I mean, or people are walking by, I mean, there really needs to be a street light put there. There's no reason to be doing 90 miles an hour around a corner, and then you run somebody over, or make it a four-way stop or something. That's all.
And as far as you asked about the Pine Land, I was at the last Pine Lands meeting, and they said as long as it's, maintenance issues, and we know who the ground belongs to, we don't have to go through them to get any minor maintenance issues.
Correct.
So the Pine Lands is completely out of that deal on the street. It's just a matter of if it's private, the way I read it on the map too is it's a paper road, and we have the right to do minor maintenance to, make water run and stuff. That's the way I read it. Again, administration may have another view of it. Hopefully after they have the engineers out there and check it out, they'll be able to straighten your problem out. Council's hands are tied beyond that. But there is no Pine Lands issue.
Okay, I mean, I'm not just saying it for my road. I mean, my road's an issue.
Right.
He's seen it's an issue.
Yeah.
But every place that has an issue. Now, when I moved here years ago, I had a drainage trench on township property. The neighbor filled it in. How come he doesn't get a summons? That's against the law, isn't it? That's changing the way of the land. That's not supposed to do that. Unless you go through the EPA or whoever to do that. I mean, that's the way I always thought, but I'm done.
I will see how the engineers and the Department of Public Works, handle it. Hopefully they'll be able to straighten it out so that you don't have a drainage problem. If not, please come back again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Eric, I'll address one more thing for you before you leave the dais there. He's not here tonight, but Councilman Dewey is zooming in regards to the leaves. I know he had proposed a year and a half ago getting some leaf-back trailers that were economically reasonable for the township, but we were told that the Department of Public Works didn't want them, so.
And thanks, Councilman, for reminding me. You do know we have a new program where all you gotta do is call, and we'll come to your residence and pick up those leaves?
No, I was not aware of that.
We've been advertising it on the marquees, I think it's on our webpage as well. There is a new leaf collection program, and we will come and pick them up as long as you call us and let them know they're ready for pickup.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe you're allowed, twice a year, Mayor, each resident?
I believe so.
Yep, I forgot about that, but yes, that is the new program. I guess it's working okay, right, Mayor?
I've only had positive feedback, but it seems like some people weren't aware of it.
Right, yeah, so spread the word, call in, give your address, come out twice a year.
Okay, what about, does that apply to brush too? Or is that just leaves?
You could always call for brush and we could come get it, it's just, that one is more like it's in the schedule, and when we can get to it, we can come over.
Okay.
And get it. And I believe that's twice a year too as well.
What, brushes?
I believe.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. Close that portion of the meeting. First up on the agenda is the meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes of January 15th, 2025. Did you guys want to do, well,
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes. Okay, next up, resolution, we're just gonna forego with the consent agenda tonight, but resolution 69/2025, various routine refunds in the amount of $700.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes. Next up, resolution 70/2025, designating official newspapers for the township. Council, questions or comments?
I do have, a comment. I'd like to actually make a motion to amend 70/2025 to include the Pine Barrens Tribune.
I'd like to second that motion.
Is that a motion to approve with that amendment?
With that amendment, yes, yes, correct.
We have a motion and a second to approve as amended 70/2025.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes. Next up is Resolution 71/2025, supports publishing legal notices on official government websites.
I have a question.
Councilman Dewey.
One of the problems that I have, and when you're saying government websites, I would imagine it's gonna be ours. Is that correct?
That's what I was told, yeah.
Okay. Well, since I've been on the council, we have a terrible problem getting what we have now updated. Matter of fact, I think if there's one site, that's Dave Patriarchus. And all the council people, somebody's updating it. I don't even know why it's still on the system.
Excuse me, Mr. Dewey?
Yeah.
This resolution specifically relates to the legal notices, which is what I put up on the website.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
I believe I do get those up when they are required to be up.
Okay, but
Thank
the
you.
volume that you're gonna have with ordinances and everything else, it's
It would
gonna
be no
take.
different than what we already put up. The ordinances are put up after they're introduced and adopted within a
And
few
what-
days.
What about storage capacity with our system? Do we have enough of that?
I've been advised that we have no issue with that.
Okay. Well, we'll see, if they get up there on time.
And this is all dependent upon whether the state legislature allows this. I don't even know that it's gonna be allowed, but we have gotten, I believe this has come into play because certain newspapers have no longer do actual print papers, and that there's a requirement, a law requirement for that, which is why we're removing the Trenton Times, because they no longer actually do a print newspaper, they're completely digital. So this is in, relation to all of that.
Now, back to the other one, is the Courier Post part of that?
No, the Courier Post still does a print newspaper.
I know. Are we approving the Courier Post for one of our papers?
I believe the motion was to allow for the addition of the Pine Barrens Tribune.
Yeah, I heard that, but I was just saying, if the Courier Post is part of that, it's Camden County, has nothing to do with Burlington County.
The Courier Post does have circulation in Burlington County.
Okay,
I did research that before it was put on the resolution.
okay.
I guess I have a question. So we're just saying that we approve this and passing this on to the state legislature and hope that we concur with this? Is that what we're doing?
This is something that was recommended by, the New Jersey League of Municipalities, because it has become an issue with the, publication of newspapers. By law, the township is, all towns are required to publish certain notices within a certain time period. And the difficulty of doing that has become harder and harder with the lack of print newspapers and then the publishing deadlines for papers that has come into play. So this is just allowing towns to
newspapers are trying to get approved so that they can still survive, and, you know, they're not in favor of this, 71-2025. I mean, I'm all for small businesses and stuff, and if we're already putting them on our website anyway, then we really don't need this resolution to continue doing that. I guess I'd like to either see it die or be voted down. Mr. President, that's up to you. It's just my opinion.
So do we have a motion for 71-2025?
I make a motion to not approve 71-2025.
Second.